everyone, and welcome back to The Olive Orchard, a podcast about nothing important really. I'm just here with stories, advice, chats, and lighthearted ramblings for your background entertainment. I'm Autumn Olive, crochet fashion designer, host of this podcast, and once when I was 10, we lost power for one day and spontaneously decided to go to this low-key, traveling, hippie wilderness camp called the Rainbow Gathering that was going on that week. But that's the story for another time. Thanks for tuning into my little radio show. Hope you're doing all right. So it's been a while since my last episode, and if you heard me speak about it last time, I did end up getting a puppy and named him Moose. He's like a tan pit bull, and he's 4 months. So he's been requiring lots of attention. He's so good. My boyfriend had been wanting a dog, and I was kind of like, maybe, because we have 2 cats, and so it's always, hit or miss if they're gonna get along or whatnot. And I don't know, I've always just been more of a cat person, but then my friend, we've been friends since I was in high school, and she told me that her sister's dogs had puppies, and that there was one that was going to go to a lady, but then they got ghosted, and so, they were holding on to him, but he needed a home. And so it was kind of like, felt like the stars aligned or whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, this is my best friend, and here's a dog that needs a home, and my boyfriend's wanting a dog. So I was like, okay, well, if we're going to get any dog, I think that this is the dog that we should get. And, my friend and her sister happened to be in Texas at the time, but were planning to drive through town after a couple of weeks. So they actually dropped off the puppy here with us, a long, 9-10 hour car drive. But yeah, it all worked out great, and Moose is really lovely. He's so energetic, but he's taking really well to training. My boyfriend and I kind of do round the clock puppy training with him. I'm an early bird, so I'm always up at 7, 8 a.m. And then, I hang out with Moose and take him on walks and teach him stuff. And then my boyfriend's definitely a late night owl, so he usually goes to bed at 3, 4 a.m. So Moose is really only unattended from, 3 or 4 a.m. until I get up at 7 or 8. So it's a really great schedule for us all, and everything is working out well. So Moose is working hard to get his training in. So, yep, it's pretty exciting. And yeah, so that's why I haven't been on much, but I have been considering the scheduling for this podcast, and I'm thinking that I want to do monthly. So around the beginning of the month, I want to release my podcast episode, and then around midway through the month, around the 15th or so, then I would like to release a YouTube crochet tutorial. And I think that would be a better schedule for me. Because at first I was just, I recently started this podcast and recently started free tutorials on YouTube just this year. And I kind of didn't have a schedule going on with it. So it was more like just finish one and then plan the next one. And, just whenever I get around to it. And not having a structure is a little bit stressful for me. So I feel more confident knowing that I am planning this structure for myself. So. And I also know that I did mention before that this episode was going to be about toys and games from the 2000s. But this is the topic that kind of came over me first. And I had a lot more to say about this one. I will need to do some Googling for the other topic. But yeah, I thought this one was good for now. And so probably next episode is going to be about toys and games from the 2000s, because I'm going to take some time to do some research on the things. So anyway, let's set the scene here. I have my almond milk iced latte, And I am working on crocheting a cardigan. I'm taking up some of my yarn scraps and making a cardigan. I'm doing like pale beige, pink, and yellow. And I'm just following my basic cardigan pattern, except this is fine yarn, so it's going to be a delicate piece. And with the colors and the delicacy of it, I'm going to call it the Angel Food cardigan, Angel Food Cake cardigan. I think that's really cute. So anyway, let's start off with something to eat, a suggestion of something for you to eat. So this is not for those who are allergic to peanuts, but one time I went to a sushi restaurant and they gave us a salad. Like, I mean, I've had seaweed salad. I love seaweed salad, but they gave us an actual salad with like iceberg lettuce in it. And the salad dressing was like nothing I had ever had before. It was like, it had a essence of peanut. So I guess, I've had like peanut chicken. I don't eat chicken anymore. I'm mainly pescatarian, I guess. But anyway, I've had peanut chicken before and the sauce is really good, but I just wasn't expecting that on a salad. And oh my gosh, it was so good. And, I don't make it that often, and I don't really keep too many condiments at home. I usually just keep soy sauce around in case I order sushi, and then sriracha as well, because that's a good hot sauce that can go on anything really. And of course I have peanut butter as well. So I kind of came up with like a little concoction to replicate it. I mean, I didn't eat that salad for the last 7 years, I think. But from what I remember, it was like kind of like peanut, kind of salty and spicy. So I sometimes kind of mix up my own. I just take like a little scoop of peanut butter and then I put a bit of sriracha and soy sauce on it. And it's a pretty thick consistency. It should be like a paste kind of. A little bit thinner than peanut butter is. And then you can add like a couple drops of water to thin it out even further. But I found that recipe is really good. And it's just, you can put it on like stir fry veggies, or you could just put it straight onto lettuce. And it's a nice little quick peanut sauce, if you have those ingredients. And you don't even have to use sriracha. You could probably just use any hot sauce. I mean, I don't eat that many kinds of hot sauce, so I can't say for sure. But, it's 3 ingredient salad dressing. And honestly, I really want to get into making more of my own salad dressings, because some of the ones that you get in the stores are have way too many ingredients than they need to. But yeah. Okay, next, let me tell you something to watch. So this is a Hulu original show, and I'm just going to tell you how it's spelled. It's in all capitals, and it's PEN15. Okay, and it's such a unique show. We'll just say that. It's kind of funny. It's really cringe. If you can get past the cringe, it's comedy genius, really. So it's about these 2 girls who are going into middle school, I think, and it shows them over the course of their few years in middle school. It has, I think, 3 seasons. And here's the catch, though. These girls are played, I think they were the creators of the show, but they are played by like 30-year-old actors. And then the whole rest of the cast, like the students, are all actual like middle school age kids. So like you're seeing them like talk about like making out and like giggling with their, peers, except then you realize that it's just so awkward because they are like in their 30s and then the other kids are like middle schoolers. But I mean, it's just wild. You should give it a try. Um, yeah, that show is funny. I like that show, and I think it's just a unique show to suggest. So if you're looking for something like just off the wall and weird, then definitely check that one out. Okay, next, something to listen to. I wanted to suggest the Spotify curated playlists. I used to not listen to these. I used to just, listen to albums that I liked or make my own playlists. But then I started checking out the Spotify playlists that they have, because there's actually a lot to choose from. And I think, I don't know, I could be wrong. This could be like a false memory or something. But from what I remember, I think that like in the past, the Spotify playlists were just like, it would say like, rap playlist, and it would just have like all the regular trending rap. But I think lately they've been somehow, like, the algorithm is adjusting them ever so slightly to fit your personal interests, because I've noticed like so many of these playlists have like songs that I have in my library, mixed in with other similar songs, so it's much more easy to listen to because there's some familiarity to it. So I've been finding them nice to listen to. Kind of takes the choice out of things. So it's good to mix it up every once in a while. Specifically, the Spotify Discover Weekly is really cool. It comes out on every Monday, and it has like all new songs, but they are all based on your listening interests. And then as far as the just regular mood playlists, two of them that I was listening to recently were the one called Spooky and the one called Vaporwave. But yeah, check them out. It's fun. And then there's so many, you can just choose like a different one every day and listen to it, and they're like a few hours long. Okay, next, something I am thankful for are a few extra sales lately. A few months ago, I moved all my physical items from Etsy to my website. A lot of people were boycotting Etsy because they lifted their sale fees, and I was also bummed about that, but I wanted to leave my patterns on there because, it's more accessible for people sometimes, and whatever, and people can discover me, and it's easier for them to give ratings when they purchase a pattern, and for several reasons. But with the physical items, they run pricier, and the sale fee that they were taking is quite a pretty penny for that. So I wanted to at least give it a try, and so I moved my stuff off of Etsy, and I guess more people were actually coming across my stuff from browsing Etsy than I thought, because before I moved my stuff, I would get a couple physical sales a month, 2 to 4 maybe, and then after I moved my inventory over to my website, I noticed a big drop in sales. Even though I was still gaining followers on my social media, the drop in sales was less. And I mean, I wasn't sure if it was maybe people felt uncertain ordering from like a private website. So I did make a note at the top. It says, anything that you see here, just email me if you want to purchase it on Etsy, and that's totally fine. But that's didn't do much to help the numbers. And so then just last week I ran a little 22% off sale, and I did get about 5 items ordered. So I was so excited about that. And it's just always really fun to package them up and, be excited for the customer who's going to receive it. So thank you so much if you were one of those people who bought one of my physical items. And if you haven't bought one of my physical items, at least go check it out. I've got a wide range of things. It's got stuff that I made a couple years ago up to really recently. Sweaters, hats, bags, all kinds of stuff. Stuffed animals too. I like to call them adoptables. And stickers, if you like stickers. Okay, next I'm going to mention special review. This one is just a type of review. I didn't choose a specific one for today. But my favorite reviews are ones that, well, not my favorite, but they're just always nice to see. It's when people go ahead and review something just to tell me how excited they are to make it. Like when they purchase a pattern and then they review it right away, which I know after I've purchased patterns, Etsy asks right away if you want to review it. So they're probably getting a reminder, but it's just really nice. You know, they say, I haven't made this yet, but I've read over it. It looks great. I'm so excited to make it. The designs are all so cute. And just any review makes me smile, really. So I'm just so happy to see people eager to make my designs even before they've even gotten started. So yeah, that's really cool. All right, so today's topic, I wanted to discuss shifting aesthetics without spending money or on a budget, but I'm going to give you plenty of free tips here. So like, I mean, if you don't know what aesthetic means in this context, it's like the way you dress. Like, this is quite a new thing. I mean, there have always been, like, you know, people who dress preppy and people who dress grunge-ish and people who dress athletic. But as of lately, there's definitely more niche groups such as like cottagecore or things like that. So I want to go over some of them, even if I was, you know, because over the years, my aesthetic or fashion style has changed, even if I didn't have a specific name for it at the time. But I've done my best to go back and like kind of pinpoint them and give them a name. Now, when I was young, like when I was a kid in like elementary and middle school, I was getting most of my clothes secondhand. I still do, but this was like more of a necessity. Like we didn't have money to go to like Macy's and get, you know, 7 new back to school outfits or anything like that. So I was getting most of my stuff from thrift stores or giveaways from people. So I didn't really have like a cohesive fashion style. I just kind of wore what I wanted, which was like girly or whatever. Like it wasn't really consistent. And also, you know, at that time I wasn't really looking at trends. I didn't start looking at trends or like social media until I guess around like 2013, 2014, when, you know, more social media started coming out. I guess like Instagram was where I first got some style inspiration. So around when I first started high school, so like my freshman year, I would say that my style was like girly or indie. Like I was wearing like polka dot skirts, chevron print, zebra leggings. You know, a lot of people wore the same stuff, but you know, then I started looking at Tumblr and I was seeing like grunge and pastel grunge, which is like pink and black. It's like, well, and also like iridescent stuff with aliens on it and like yin yang and peace signs. I did look up how to dress grunge, and then that's when I realized like, okay, this actually like is based on like the 90s grunge look, which is like actually looking grunge. So like then I ended up wearing like men's flannels and literally not washing my hair and not wearing makeup because, you know, Tumblr pastel grunge, people had, you know, full face of makeup, but when you go back and look at grunge in the 90s, the only makeup people wore was maybe eyeliner, heavy eyeliner and smoky eye and like maybe a dark lipstick, but most of the time grunge meant grunge, like you haven't showered, you haven't put on makeup. um so my first driver's license was really bad because I was literally in that phase where I was like not, oh my gosh, I just let my hair get oily and I thought that I looked so cool. And then looking back on my driver's license photo, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so then, yeah, so I was in that phase, you know, I had combat boots, um, ripped up black jeans and shorts and flannels, and I'd always like cut the sleeves off my t-shirts, band t-shirts and stuff. Then around like end of 10th grade, 11th grade, um, I started hanging out with friends different friends, and I started to smoke. Then I look up how to be a stoner, how to dress like a stoner. Um, I mean, it's just like dumb because real people don't like look that up. But yeah, I don't know. So I looked it up, and then, you know, it's just showing like the classic, you know, like what people would wear on like Pineapple Express and stuff like that. So, you know, tie-dye shirts and what else? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Beanie, like loose beanies, stuff like that. So I started wearing those kinds of clothes. I don't know if anybody noticed that I was like literally changing my style like this, or if I'm just embarrassed looking back, but I mean, I know that we all change our style and stuff. So, I mean, I don't really care too much. Okay, so then at the end of 11th grade and like middle of 12th grade, I graduated early and I was planning to move to California to live with my boyfriend. And, well, there's a phrase that says California girl. And I don't know what that means really, but that was my vibe when I was planning to move to California. So, you know, when I got to California, I started to dress. I mean, you kind of have to, you know, dressing in shorts and lightweight clothes, and just kind of shifting back to like the girly girl aesthetic. Okay, and then after a couple of years of that, I started to look into like more of like a dark academia witchy vibe. And so, you know, I started to dress in more like black and more toned down things. And then a couple of years of that, COVID hit. I wasn't going anywhere, so I was like, well, my new style is loungewear and pajamas. And I stuck to that for a while because, you know, then I never went back to like working in an actual work setting. I've been working from home ever since. So I kind of didn't let go of the loungewear look. I still do sometimes, but as of a few months ago, I was kind of feeling like garbage because day in and day out, I was wearing like sweatpants, sweaters, hoodies, and I don't know. I was just feeling like I need to, you know, I still have a ton of clothes in my closet, and most, like 90% of them weren't getting worn because I was mainly just going for like soft comfies and not really getting use out of my other stuff. So I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start wearing my loungewear at like bedtime hours. And when I get up, I'm going to get up, shower, and get ready for the day. But I'm going to actually put together an outfit. And I've been feeling much better about myself. And the inspiration for this was when I saw a style called Old Money. And so I was like intrigued into it. It's like basically like extremely preppy wear and also like expensive clothes, which I'm not going to go into by expensive clothes. I'm talking like literally the preppiest of the preppies, like Ralph Lauren and stuff like that, like wearing like khakis and like polos and stuff like that. But the idea behind it is minimalism. Like, you know, you stick to pretty much neutral tones, neutral textures, you know, maybe like a couple statement things. But for me, like when I crochet clothes, my crochet clothes are often statement pieces. So what I found was that with my crochet clothes, I don't even have much to like wear it with, because the crochet is such a statement piece that I felt like I didn't even have enough neutrals to go with it, really. So that was another reason why I wanted to like kind of focus in on this style. But, you know, the concept is just like a cohesive wardrobe where, you know, any piece will go with any other piece and you don't have to put much thought into that. And the other thing about it is that, you know, you don't have to go to Polo Ralph Lauren and buy a $2,000 blouse. But the idea is that the clothes are very well made, and that, you know, you focus on taking care of them when they're worn, taking care of them when they're washed, aka you don't need to wash it after every time you wear it. You could just air it out, use a fabric spray, and, you know, if it's not, you know, jeans and stuff, they're not meant to be washed every day, really, because they get torn up like that. And that's when people get into this cycle of, well, oh, my clothes aren't lasting, let me buy something cheaper, and then that lasts even less time. Gosh, there's a bird being very loud outside my window. And so, you know, the idea is buying less stuff, higher quality, making it last, and having a cohesive wardrobe. So I'm not going to dress like super preppy, but I am going to take the things that I have, make cohesive outfits with it, and definitely stop buying cheap stuff, like Shein cheap. Like, you know, think of $20 cotton shirt compared to one that's $4.99 from Shein, which is probably not cotton and probably going to fray after 2 washes. So, you know, I know it can be tempting with Shein because you can get, you know, 50 things for under $100. But they're not going to last you. And, I mean, if it works for you, that's fine. But for me, I do want my things to last, and it's very frustrating when I get attached to a piece and then it falls apart. And if it's higher quality material, then mending it will be much better and easier. So, you know, I take old money, quote unquote, with a grain of salt. You know, I'm not going to go out and buy, you know, $1,000 shirts, but when I go to the thrift store, yes, I am going to be looking out for higher quality brands and stuff like that. So, okay, let me get into this list format here. Oh, wait, let me say this. So between all of those different styles that I had going on over the years, most are between a period of several months to a year or two. And so, you know, after I would lose interest in one thing. So, like, for example, with the girly and indie look, you know, I kind of, when I went from that into like the grunge and pastel grunge, I kind of ditched the like polka dots and stuff. But I did hang on to like the basics. Like, you know, I had a couple of like black shirts, and you know, pastel grunge means pastel, so, you know, anything I had like light pink sweaters and stuff. So I was able to incorporate more than half of what I had previously into that. And then, you know, from pastel grunge, then I went to like the hippie stoner style, and, you know, I held on to the combat boots, and I held on to the flannel shirts and stuff. And, you know, then going from that on to California Girl, I, you know, held on to the tie-dye shirts and stuff. So, you know, and now with this, you know, kind of more sophisticated old money look, I mean, you know, I'm not going to ditch the things I love, because I do also love a little bit of cutesy stuff. You know, like right now I have blue butterfly clips in my hair, and I have a shirt that has black bears on it. But my outfit's put together, and I love what I'm wearing. So that's my main goal these days. And, you know, I'm not just completely throwing away my wardrobe and replacing it with all new stuff. I am reusing what I had. So, you know, a good rule of thumb, I think, is like 60 to 80% of your wardrobe should remain basics. Like basic, a couple of sweaters, like neutral colors. Or, you know, if you think you're going to stick with one color, like light pink has never let me down. So I consider that a neutral in my wardrobe. But that's all up to you. But white, black, beige, and like gray are good neutrals. So, you know, a couple of sweaters, a black skirt, maybe plain colored shirts, plain socks, a good pair of jeans, good pair of black pants, neutral colored outerwear. So like when you go and buy a coat, try to stick to neutral colors. That way you don't get tired of it, and then you can wear anything under it and it will match much better. And then, you know, just throw in a few statement colors that really suit you, you know, for the other 30, 40%. But yeah. So, okay. First, let's talk about appearance. So, like, this, if you are like me and you are swapping aesthetics, you know, every year or two, it can be hard if you don't have the tools to work with it. You know, it can be tempting to just go for the wardrobe, but it's all around, you know. So, here's some things you can do with your appearance to change it up. And these are like literally free or low cost. So like your hair, if you can cut your own hair, then that's good. That's free. But, you know, if you need to go get a haircut, they're pretty cheap. So, like for example, let's say grunge style might have like, you know, messy layered hair, whereas a preppy style would have straight across cut, clean cut in the back. Y2K or like 80s style cut bangs. You see what I mean? Like changing your hair can change the vibe so much. Next, makeup style. You can do quite a lot of different aesthetics with like, you know, a basic makeup kit. You can do like smoky eye for the grunge, bright colors, you know, the light blue if you're going for like Y2K, stuff like that. You know, you can do 80s inspired makeup, 90s inspired makeup, very cute, like little fake freckles if you're going for cottagecore. Also eyebrows. Don't slack on the eyebrows. You know, people had very thick eyebrows in the 80s, very thin eyebrows in the 90s and 2000s, and then back to thick again since then. And your nails, nail colors, preppy nails, maybe a little bit shorter, neutral colors, longer, darker nails for more gothic appearance, colorful, cute nails for like kidcore style. Okay, next, wardrobe. So even if you can't like make your own clothes from scratch, like whether it be knitting, crocheting, or sewing, there's still so much that a general person can do to like change up their clothes. So here's a few examples. Cutting, like cropping the shirt or cutting the sleeves off. As I mentioned, I did that before with a lot of my band shirts. You can dye stuff. I also did this. I did like the reverse dyeing. So like I would take a black shirt and like put bleach splotches on it. But yeah, you can dye anything. Like if you have like a bunch of pink clothes that you bought like when you were into like a Y2K style and now you want to dress a little more sophisticated or gothic, you can dye them like black, or you can bleach them and make them more pale. Distressing them, if you're going from a preppy style to a more grunge style or whatever, you can distress your jeans, you can, distress your tights, or, rip holes in your shirts. Also, this is a game changer. Changing the buttons on something will completely elevate the look. The first time I did this was when I worked at Wendy's. The uniforms were just so ugly. It was like a red polo, but with that polyester tennis material, jersey material, I guess. And, they had the Wendy's logo on it, and then you had to wear like black pants and a black belt, and then they give you this apron. And I mainly did not like the polo shirt because I do not like short sleeve shirts at all. I don't like the feeling. I get cold really easily. I have very hairy arms, which I got made fun of in school. I don't shave them, but I just leave them, and they don't really bother me, but I just feel more comfortable with long sleeves, even in the summer. So when I saw that some of these girls at Wendy's had on like little black cardigans, it was like a really sleek like black cardigan, and it just had like a little Wendy's logo on it in script font instead of like the redhead girl right on the center. So I was like, oh, this is cute. Like, how can I get one of these? And they were like, oh, well, we only order them in September. But my manager really loved me, so she was like, oh, I have an extra one at home I can bring you. So she brought it to me, and she said that I could have it. And I was very grateful that she gave it to me. And so what I did to make it a little bit cute, I replaced all just the plain gray buttons with these little metal butterfly buttons that I got at Walmart. And it felt like so me. It felt like I was, able to incorporate my own style, because at fast food places, like, they're really strict. Well, most food industry is really strict about the dress code. So like, I even would sometimes try to wear like a white belt instead of a black belt, and they would tell me that that's no good. It needed to be a black belt and a black belt only. So when I changed the buttons on the cardigan, nobody cared. And so, yeah, and it just made it look so cute. And like, I still kept it. I haven't worn it again, but I still have it because it's just sentimental to me. But yeah, or like, for example, if you have, okay, say you have a white skirt, right, with buttons up the side. If you put little like wooden buttons on it, it's going to be such a like boho look. Okay, if you change them to silver buttons, then that's going to look more like preppy. So yeah, you can always consider that. And like, if you go to like a thrift store, keep this stuff in mind, because a lot of times people don't see the potential in stuff. But like, if you see a skirt and you're like, oh, either it's missing a button or like you don't like the set of buttons that it has, consider that you can always change it. You can always dye something, you can always cut something, you can always tailor it to fit you if it's not your size. The whole idea is like looking for potential and stuff. You can also just like consider a different way to wear it. So like, for example, taking a scarf and wearing it as like a wrap top, like wrap it around your chest and then like cross it at the neck and tie it in the back and stuff. You know, wearing things in new ways, or like taking a skirt and wearing it as a dress. Okay, and then next tip is, if you can actually crochet or knit, it's not that hard to learn. I learned to knit in one day when I had not even known how to knit before. I never held a knitting needle in my life. I learned to knit in one day. And when I learned to crochet, I was 10 years old. So I truly believe that anybody can learn how to do this. I know these days the general population does have a lowered attention span, especially if you have, ADHD or something like that. It can be hard to sit down and have the patience to focus on something, but it definitely can be done if you are determined. Like if you want to follow this tip, I truly believe that you can learn how to make your own clothes. My next goal is to learn how to sew things with a sewing machine. I want to get a sewing machine and use that to even further help me create my perfect wardrobe. So, and if you can't learn to crochet or knit, you can always pay a friend if you know a friend who can make you something. Or like maybe an art trade, right? If you're a painter and you have a friend who is a knitter, you guys can swap skills, have them make you something, and then you can like paint them some decor, or like you can paint their table or something. Or, you can even just trade labor, like go and mow their lawn or whatever they need help with. It doesn't always have to be about money. But definitely offer them some kind of form of compensation, because making clothes is definitely a time-consuming skill. Okay, next, you can ask friends and family for hand-me-downs. I've had plenty of people offer me hand-me-downs. They're moving away and they're like, hey, I got some extra stuff that I want you to look through. But it never hurts to ask them, hey, when's the last time you went through your closet? Like, do you have anything that you're looking to get rid of, or you want to make some space? Because sometimes people don't think to declutter or don't get around to it. But if you ask them, who knows? It could just spark something. They could be like, hey, yeah, I am trying to clear out some space and it would be nice to declutter and whatever. So, it never hurts to ask. You can ask I've had, family friends, my own friends, coworkers, stuff like that. Instead of, if they're not trying to give something away, you can always offer like a wardrobe swap or a trade. Like, it doesn't have to be forever. You can just say, hey, let's trade some pieces for the next month, or next season or whatever. And you could also look into your local community and see maybe there's some strangers. Like if you look on Facebook Marketplace or whatever. I haven't done this personally. It's always been with like people I know, but I'm sure if you lived in the right place, you can definitely find people who have the same, mindset, and you can swap clothes permanently or temporarily or whatever. Also, check Facebook Marketplace for things that are very cheap or even free. Sometimes you can see stuff on there that's literally free and you just have to go pick it up. I've seen lots of clothes for free. I'm always on the lookout for yarn for free, but there's lots of clothes on there too. Okay. So when you go to the thrift store, definitely look. It's easy to just look for like things that catch your eye, but definitely look for like quality basics. Check for stains, check for holes, check for missing buttons. See if it could be repaired, and get some good basics from a thrift store. Or if you can't find something that's good quality, go ahead and invest in the basics. A statement piece I feel like a statement piece, you can find some cool statement pieces for cheap. And that, in my opinion, might be the way to go, because statement pieces, you're much more likely to get bored of it or get tired of it or something. So if you get that for cheap, that's really cool. But like basics, you're never gonna not have a use for a black shirt, right? So you would want to, find a good quality one that's gonna last you, because you're never gonna need to get rid of it. So why get a cheap and crappy one? Okay, you can also check Depop for some stuff, and like I said, Facebook Marketplace, for shopping for cheap. And then in the clearance section at stores, that's usually the first place I go, is to check out the clearance section. Like, a lot of people believe that clearance means we're getting rid of this because it's not in style. Nobody finds it cute. But that's actually not the case. I worked at JCPenney's, and the reason that anything went on clearance is because it has an expiration date. That's literally the epitome of fast fashion. The clothes have an expiration date. Even if, like, the only reason you wouldn't see something in clearance is because it's already all sold. Like, I think the things can sit there for like 5 months. So, like, of course, like, the cutest stuff already sold, and like the high trending items already sold. And so, they didn't make it to the expiration date. But there's still lots of cute stuff that got overlooked, and it's only in the clearance section because they need to make room for the new stuff, the new fast fashion. So they put it in the clearance section to get rid of it, and it has nothing to do with whether it was cute or not. It's literally just because we're running out of time, So don't get the wrong idea about the clearance section. Literally everything will be going to the clearance section if it doesn't sell in time. Okay, so next category I'm going to talk about. So the other thing with these aesthetics, like cottagecore, grungecore, whatever, lately, is people want the whole vibe. You want your environment to feel like cottagecore. You want your environment to feel like Y2K. And so to do that, there's a few things you can do, like go to what I said like before, just clearance section, Depop, Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores. These places all have home decor as well. You just need to look for it, and you'll also find cheap home decor. And right, so at home, these are like cost-free ways to do it. So like rearranging your furniture. This is kind of up to interpretation, but from room to room, like if you have different stuff, like you can put like all your wood grain stuff together, and that's like kind of cottagecore vibes. Or like if you have dark, I have like a dark table here, and like my entertainment center is dark. So, you can just kind of see what you have, and like if you didn't already buy your stuff to go together, you can always like rearrange the furniture. Even just rearranging it, how it's set up in the room, can change the whole, feeling of the room. Changing out the display linens. I have a couple different linens, I keep a throw blanket on my couch, and just depending on what I want. Like I have like a spiderweb blanket, which I'll probably use in the fall, and I'll probably use like a nice crocheted blanket in the winter. But since it's hot and it's summer right now, I've got like a cotton blanket out, like a light pink cotton blanket. And that's my, summer atmosphere there. Or like on your bed, you can change out the linens, even just changing out the sheets underneath, underneath your comforter. can change the whole vibe. Like, think black sheets versus like pink sheets. Switching up the decor. You can like repaint stuff, or just move it from room to room. Fragrance, also consider different scented candles can totally change the atmosphere. Okay, morning routine, or like routines in general. Like, okay, if you're going for like, hippie 70s aesthetic, go out for like a nature walk in the mornings. If you're going for like preppy kind of style, maybe do like your self-care routine, and then like deep clean your home, like open up some windows and dust your furniture, and wipe down surfaces, and just get that nice clean environment. And like ambiance as well. So like a more like witchy vibe would be crystals and candles out, decorating the area, versus like cottagecore, for example. You might have like a vase of fresh flowers and like some dried herbs drying out. So yeah, I mean, these are all really cost-free ways to change up your atmosphere. I can sometimes, I don't know, I am 23, so sometimes I feel old talking about this stuff, like vibe and aesthetic. But that's what it is, and that's like the term people are using. But whatever you want to call it, fashion, style, ambiance, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, just consider these things and think if it applies to you, because I know that it's applied to me, and it's prevented me, I don't want to like, it's usually so impulsive. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't feel comfortable with what I'm wearing anymore, and I want to start dressing differently tomorrow, and you can't just go out and buy a whole new wardrobe tomorrow and get rid of everything that you have. So you have to get creative and take what you have and make new outfits with it, move things around, redecorate, and you'll be surprised just what the different combinations of the things you already have in your home can do for you. So I hope that this resonated with some of you. So that's all I've got here. The cover art you see was drawn by me on Procreate on my iPad. The intro and outro music done by my boyfriend. Check out my YouTube for video episodes of this podcast and free crochet tutorials. Visit autumnolive.com to shop crochet pieces, patterns, and free patterns as well. Follow my Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy, and Ravelry, all at Autumn Olive Crochet. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And you can email in regards to this show at theoliveorchardpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're still listening, thank you so much. I wanted to share with you another extra little tip to save even more. Check online for coupons if you're going to a retail store. Some places like JCPenney's, for example, where I worked, you can go and you can find a coupon online, but if you download the app, it also has the coupons there. But sometimes they have an app where you can take your phone camera and like scan the barcode on something and it'll show you the price. And here's the thing, things may be even cheaper than it says. Like, the merchandising team are constantly behind schedule. So like there would be things that, a summer top for $20 and, it's got a sale sign that says, this is only $14.99, but it's already going to its first round of clearance, and the merchandise team just didn't get around to putting the sticker on it and like moving it to the clearance rack. So it might be sitting there for a couple days being even less than $14.99. It might be $9.99 or $8.99 on clearance or something, and you don't even know because you're just looking at the sign because the sign hasn't been updated yet. So definitely try that out. Try your luck if the store has an app. And also, if you're going to go to a thrift store, check out the if they have a website, you can check that out, or go to Google reviews and check through the photos to see, because a lot of thrift stores have like a day by day sale thing. Like Mondays might be, 50% off for veterans. Tuesdays might be 25% off everything. Wednesdays, 50% off everything with a yellow tag, and so on. And so then if you do that, you can pinpoint a certain day that you'd like to go. Like if you're looking for new furniture, see if they have a day where the furniture is cheap. Or, if it's like a day by day color tag thing, go in and mainly hunt for like that color tag that day. And last tip, if you're going to a salon for your nails or something, like I go to a salon every 3 or 4 weeks for my nails, find a place that offers points or a punch card, because if you're going to get your nails done anyway, then you might as well get like a freebie every few times that you go. So that's always super helpful. Yeah, let me know if you found this helpful, if you try out any of these tips. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.